People are walking out of Kamala Harris's rallies, guys.
President of the United States.
A few moments later.
So as you see, it doesn't seem like many people are very interested in actually sticking around for Kamala Harris's speech, which is odd to me. But this is literally, a minute and a half, 2 minutes worth of people literally just walking out, and it's just a never-ending stream. I mean, if I were to record this and continue recording this, it would be a solid 10 minutes of people just leaving in droves. So that's interesting to me. I've never seen a rally where people leave this early.
Now, honestly, when I first saw this, my first question wasn't why were they walking out? I was actually wondering why were these people cheering that hard for her? Because a lot of people, they tell she's part of the worst administration ever and didn't even get a single vote for that Democratic nomination. I mean, seriously, guys, you got to wonder if there's something else happening here that they're trying to hide from us. You know what I mean? Because yeah, as for the reason for why people are walking out, it may be because Kamala Harris got caught copying Donald Trump's policies on eliminating taxes on people's tips. Just check this out. Kamala Harris saying the same thing just days after Donald Trump did, or as they're calling it online, hashtag Copycat Kamala.
At the center of our plan for economic relief are massive tax cuts for workers that include something else that's turned out to be very popular, actually. Here it's very popular in this building and all those hotels that I saw that are so nice. I'm staying in a nice one. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips. No tax on tips. I got that by having dinner recently in Nevada, where we're leading by about 14 points. Hello. I'll see you there very soon, everybody. And we're having dinner at a beautiful restaurant in the Trump building on the Strip, and it's a great building, and the waitress comes over. How's everything going? A really nice person. How's everything? Oh, Sarah, it's so tough. The government's after me all the time on tips, tips, tips. I said, well, they give you cash. Would they be able to find him? She said, actually, and I didn't know this, she said, very little cash is given. It's all put right on the check. And they come in and they take so much of our money, it's just ridiculous. And they don't believe anything we say. And they've just hired, as you know, 88,000 agents to go after him even more. And I said, this shows the level of my, most people go out, they hire consultants, they pay them millions of dollars. But I said to her, let me just ask you a question. Would you be happy if you had no tax on tips? She said, what a great idea. I got my information from a very smart waitress. That's better than spending millions of dollars.
And it is my promise to everyone here, when I am president, we will continue our fight for working families of America. Including to raise the minimum wage and eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
I mean, she couldn't even say it right. Did you guys hear? Hospitality, she said. Right after this came out, Donald Trump campaign political director James Blair posted on X saying, "Now's a good time to remind everyone that hashtag Copycat Kamala's administration rolled out a new enforcement program just last year to collect more taxes on tips. She could stop it now, but she won't because she's a dishonest fraud." Former President Donald Trump as well immediately reacted to this proposal, accusing Kamala Harris of copying his policy idea. He said on Truth Social, Kamala Harris, whose honeymoon period is ending and is starting to get hammered in the polls, just copied his no taxes on tips policy. He then added that the difference is she won't do it. She just wants it for political purposes. This was a Trump idea. She has no ideas. She can only steal from him. I mean, you gotta admit, Donald Trump does make sense here. I mean, she's been the VP for nearly 4 years and she just now got the bright idea to not tax tips. No wonder people are calling her such a fake. And seriously, guys, they need to stick to a lane. They call Trump a dictator, then they turn around and steal his policies. Seriously, that's not cool, man. In fact, hashtag Copycat Kamala started trending after this. Here's some of my favorites for you guys. So Elizabeth McDonald says, Kamala Harris's first big policy idea is to steal Trump's no taxes on tips when she backed Democrats $80 billion for IRS audits, including on tip income. The Biden-Harris administration also launched a novel new IRS crackdown on tips, getting the IRS inside the door at bars and restaurants to directly monitor tips at the cash register at point of sale. She also backed the $1.7 trillion spending legislation expecting taxpayers to report their $600 phone app transactions to the IRS without she and the Senate reading the bill, later dropped as untenable. Libs of TikTok. Just last year, the IRS under the Biden-Harris administration made plans to crack down on tips. Now Kamala is stealing Trump's policy of no tax on tips. Hashtag Copycat Kamala. Chaya Rachik, stolen valor, stolen policies, stolen nomination. The ticket is the most fake and forced campaign in history. Charlie Kirk, unreal. Kamala just stole President Donald Trump's no tax on tips. What a shameless phony. Colin Rugg, breaking. VP Kamala Harris takes Donald Trump's no tax on tips plan and shares it as her own during her Las Vegas rally. Remarkable. The statement comes as Harris is also trying to steal Donald Trump's stance on a secure border. And seriously, guys, when Donald Trump came up with this, mainstream media criticized him hard for it. But when she does it, all we hear is praise. You gotta wonder if these people are really clowns. You know what I mean? And this is not the only thing that critics are calling Kamala Harris out for. Just now, they ripped the vice president as inauthentic for giving nearly identical speeches at separate rallies. I mean, you got to see it for yourself here, guys.
Here, let's take a look at the montage of Kamala Harris sounding like she's on a loop. Let's play it.
It really is good to be back in Wisconsin. It is so good to be back in Michigan. Listen, let me tell you, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. And listen, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. I took on perpetrators of all kinds. I took on perpetrators of all kinds and had a summer job at McDonald's. I had a summer job at McDonald's. So hear me when I say, hear me, Detroit, when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. I know Donald Trump's type. And are we ready to fight for it? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win.
Fox News contributor Gianno Caldwell said this is Hillary Clinton 3.0. She's inauthentic and she's going to continue to be that way. Fox News contributor Joe Contra also connected this to Kamala Harris's recent movement where the vice president answered reporter questions for a whopping 2 minutes. I mean, what is that? Don't we deserve better as voters? Well, you guys can check out our breakdown right here in our video today. Go ahead and stay right there. We're going to go ahead and dive right in. So yeah, just as you guys have noticed, Vice President Kamala Harris is under fire from critics and conservatives for copying former President Donald Trump's campaign vow to not tax service industry employees' tips, especially after the Biden-Harris administration itself rolled out a plan to crack down on waiters' tips. Meanwhile, they're the reason tips needed a tax break in the first place. But did Kamala Harris even acknowledge that in her copycat speech? Nope. It was just a promise to everyone here that when she's president, she says she will continue to fight for working families, including to raise the minimum wage and eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers. You see, Donald Trump had already vowed earlier this summer that he would eliminate taxes on service industry tips if reelected to the Oval Office, and included the promise on the 2024 GOP platform. He said hotel workers and people that get tips, you're going to be very happy because when he gets in office, he's going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips. And he also added it's been a point of contention for years and years and years, and these people do a great job of service. They take care of people, and Trump thinks is going to be something that really is deserved. I mean, can you see the difference between the two? No matter how hard Kamala tries to copy Donald Trump, it's like night and day when you compare their intentions behind the policy. You know what I mean? Drop me a quick yes or no in the comments down below if you guys are with me. And while you guys are there, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That way you guys can stay informed and updated on the latest in the election, not to mention Kamala Harris's latest recent shenanigans. Now, of course, Donald Trump quickly called out Kamala Harris for copying his policy, saying how her honeymoon period is ending and she's starting to get hammered in the polls, so she resorted to copying his no taxes on tips policy. He also said Kamala is probably not even going to do it, that she just wants it for political purposes. Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., echoed his father's comments, sharing a video of Harris's announcement during the Saturday rally and writing on X, formerly Twitter, Harris Waltz 2024, stolen proposals and stolen valor. I mean, Kamala did have 4 years to do it already, but she's done nothing. But instead, the Biden-Harris administration decided to go after waiters instead. Yep, that's right, guys. The Biden administration rolled out a voluntary tip reporting system last year for industry workers that works to streamline tax compliance on tips. The IRS said in a press release last year that they, with the Treasury Department, issued the notice 2023-13, which contains a proposed revenue procedure that would establish the Service Industry Tip Compliance Agreement, the SITCA program, a voluntary tip reporting program between the IRS and employers in various service industries. It was criticized by tax experts at the time as a crackdown on waitresses' tips after the IRS hired 87,000 new agents under the Biden administration. Representative Mike Kelly, the chairman of the Ways and Means Subcommittee on Tax, he brought it up saying that Washington has a spending problem, not a revenue problem. And now, with this sudden notice, the IRS is going after middle-income families and working moms and dads who are just trying to make ends meet and put food on the table. He said that they've warned for months that the IRS would start targeting hardworking Americans in the Biden administration's quest for more taxpayer dollars. Now, we're starting to see some of these concerns actually come to fruition. And now that Harris is running for presidency, she's trying to walk back what they did, considering how the idea to eliminate federal taxes on tips for service workers is likely to appeal to voters in the swing state of Nevada, where thousands of casino employees depend on gratuities. I mean, can you believe this, guys? And that isn't even the whole of it. Because see, Kamala Harris was also called out recently for delivering almost identical speeches at separate rallies. Hillary Clinton 3.0, they call her. This is on top of her reluctance to answer questions from the press. I mean, you saw the side-by-side earlier. Those were taken from separate Kamala Harris rallies in Wisconsin and Michigan. The vice president repeated a line about the path to the White House running through their state. I mean, what kind of path is this really that runs through both Wisconsin and Michigan? She also flashed back to the summer job she had at McDonald's while in college and reiterated that she knows Donald Trump's type. Fox News contributor Gianno Caldwell described her as Hillary Clinton 3.0. She's inauthentic, and she's going to continue to be that way. She's fake. Caldwell, along with Fox News contributors Joe Concha and Miranda Devine and Fox News anchor Anita Vogel, honed in on Kamala Harris's voice of words during the rally and her lack of words when speaking to the press. So Concha pointed out how Kamala Harris answered reporter questions for a whopping 2 minutes. Vogel called it absolutely insulting. She said that the press should be insulted that she's not taking the time to answer their questions, that it doesn't matter whether she's a man or a woman, she's a candidate for the president of the United States, and she needs to be taking questions from the press. Devine offered her take next, that if she can't take questions from the media, it means there's something wrong. She's trying to hide something. She's trying to hide from scrutiny, and it's because her record is so appalling and her ability to articulate a point is really lacking. Kamala Harris said that they want to get an interview scheduled before the end of the month, but come on, guys. She's been the presumptive nominee for almost a month now, and she's still asking the press, not to mention the American people, to wait this long? Yeah, I get why some people will call it insulting. But what about you guys? How are you feeling about Kamala Harris? What she's been saying on stage and what she hasn't been saying? Drop me a comment down below. I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Now, if you like this video, do not hesitate to show your support, guys. Light up the like button and hit that notification bell. I also definitely recommend checking out our other video where we look into Kamala Harris losing it yet again as more Black Democratic women declare their support for Donald Trump. I mean, you got to see that one, guys. So definitely check that one out after this one. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Thank you for hitting the like button, supporting the channel, subscribing, and sharing these videos. I'll see you on the next one.